You know, systems are literally everywhere, but have you ever stopped to think about how they actually change? How do you even begin to map something that's constantly in motion? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to learn how to draw the actual blueprints for change using some really clever modeling tools. Let's get into it.
Have you ever tried to, actually pin down smoke? It's impossible, right? Trying to understand a complex, dynamic system can feel just like that. You're following something that seems to change its own rules right in front of your eyes. It's elusive, unpredictable, and just really hard to get a handle on.
But what if you could? What if you had the blueprints for that smoke? That's our whole mission today. We're going to give you the shortcut, the key to modeling how systems behave, so you can finally see all the moving parts clearly. All right, so where do we start? We're going to zoom in, way in. We'll kick things off by focusing on the life story of just one single thing, a single object. And for that, we're entering the world of state diagrams.
So first things first, what even is a state? The easiest way to think about it is as a distinct phase in an object's life. It's a condition where an object is just kind of waiting around, following specific rules until something happens to move it along. And what is that something that happens? Well, that's an event. The event is the trigger. It's that instantaneous bang that forces the object to react and shift from one state to another. The pathway that connects one state to the next is the transition. It's basically the rule that ties everything together. If you're in this state and this event happens, you follow the transition to that next state. It's the logic of the system.
Let's make this super simple. Think of a light switch. Its initial state is off. The event? You flipping the switch. That action triggers a transition, and bam, the light enters a new state, on. State, event, transition. It's a beautifully simple and powerful way to see the world.
And here's the really crucial insight. A state isn't just a passive label. No way. It actively governs what can happen next. For instance, think of a sales order. When it's in the placed state, you can probably cancel it. But the second it transitions to the delivered state, that option is gone. The state itself dictates the rules of the game.
Okay, let's add a little wrinkle. Imagine a book gets returned to a library. The event is book returned. Simple enough. But does it always go back to the same shelf? Not always, right? And this little puzzle introduces a really important idea.
We're talking about a guarded transition. The event is the same every time. The book comes back. But a condition, or a guard, checks something first. The system asks a question. Hey, is this book on hold for someone else? If the answer is yes, it follows path A to the reserved shelf state. If no, it follows path B to the on-shelf state. This little guard adds a whole new layer of intelligence to our models.
So, we've totally nailed how to map the life of one single object. But what about the bigger picture? What about mapping an entire process with lots of steps and different people involved? For that, we need to zoom out and switch to a different tool: activity diagrams.
Now this is a really key distinction. State diagrams track the life of one thing, always asking what condition is it in. Activity diagrams map the flow of work, always asking, okay, what's the next action? One is about being, the other is about doing. They're like two different camera angles on the very same system.
One of the coolest features here is the swim lane. Each column represents a different actor: the customer, the warehouse, the accounts department. This is brilliant because it shows you not just what happens, but who is responsible. You can instantly see the handoffs, like when the warehouse team finishes delivering and the process moves over to accounts to send the invoice. It makes responsibility crystal clear. And don't think for a second these are just for business processes. They are incredibly versatile. You could use an activity diagram to map out a user's entire journey through a software application, showing every click from the login screen to the final checkout. It's a huge tool for user interface design.
Okay, so our blueprints are looking pretty solid. We can map out logic and sequences, but you know what's missing? A really critical element: time. What happens when we press play and bring these static maps to life? This is where discrete event simulation, or DES, comes in. Think of it as a virtual laboratory for your entire process. You're basically animating your diagram, letting all the events play out over simulated time so you can see how the system actually performs when things get hectic.
And why bother? The benefits are massive. You can test all kinds of what-if scenarios without any real-world risk. You can find those secret bottlenecks that are slowing everything down, figure out the perfect number of staff to have on hand, and just make the whole operation radically more efficient. But, and this is a big but,
It's not magic. Simulation is a powerful tool, for sure, but you have to be careful. The number one rule is garbage in, garbage out. If your model of the process is wrong, the results the simulation spits out will be completely useless. Plus, building these things can be complex, and it definitely requires some real expertise.
All right, we've covered a ton of ground. Let's do a quick recap of the powerful new tools we've just added to your mental toolkit.
First up, state diagrams. This is your blueprint for a single object's life. Use it when you need to understand every possible phase it can go through and what triggers each change.
And second, activity diagrams. This is your blueprint for an entire workflow. This is what you pull out when you need to map a sequence of actions and figure out who is responsible for each step. But the real takeaway is this: you've just gained a new perspective. These aren't just abstract drawings. They are a new lens for seeing, understanding, and ultimately improving the complex systems that are all around you every single day.
So I'll leave you with a challenge. What's a system in your own life that you can see differently now? Think about ordering your morning coffee. What are the states of your order? Ordered, being made, ready. What are the events? Applying this new lens, even just in your head, is the absolute best way to make these powerful ideas stick.